I deliberately didn't do and to be fair, like, I haven't alright?
Works.
I reminded Dr. Romans of a bad time diving. I'd get a rise out of you from that as well. I mention this? Maybe I will.
Played against him, so he knows it.
As I was, my point was as a spectacle. But you're absolutely right. It was against the rules.
Well, it's nice. It's 2-2.
See that? That is exactly what I expected.
It's fine. No, it's a bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I see.
Hello there and welcome to 15's 2023. An eagerly awaited contest between two very strong teams. No, we're only doing two.
I think it's gonna
That's terrible for Slytherin. Come on, Gryffindor.
Right, it's hydrogen. Yeah. That ball has risen like it's filled with hydrogen. Mac and cheese. He has absolutely meloned that ball down the pitch. I know, but I just superfluous to me in Winchester.
Oh, yeah, it's not. Yeah, yeah. People crumble, don't
Yeah,
they?
I actually.
Don't put it on.
Even Dr. Romans doesn't believe how they won last year. A lot to do with Mr. Mercer, in my opinion. Actually probably do it, and you rest out there, and as soon as you get like a centimetre away, you can't hit anything. So yeah, so none.
since I got here, I've loved playing the game. I think it's a really great game because it has everyone involved. Anyone of any ability, any size can have a really important role. I've also really wanted to play the game because I've heard a lot from it from my dad. It's an honour to be captain because my dad was captain when he was here, so it's been really nice to follow in his footsteps.
I'm pretty confident. I mean, we've got a lot of team camaraderie, working hard. Some big boys in the hot, so we've got a powerful unit there. On ropes as well, some very confident players. I think we've got a bit in the heart, a bit of passion, a bit about us. Yeah, and we can really go for it.
We haven't had that much time to train, time to prepare. We've sort of been thrown in the deep end. So we've done a bit of fitness, we've done a lot of hot training, which we need as we are normally the weak side in that area.
Yeah, we've struggled this year with the weather. You've seen the pitches, they've been frosted over. That's been a big challenge. We've still been able to do some sort of work and really get on with it.
All I'm going to say is I feel like we've got a lot of talented players, a lot of experience in our team. We'll give it our best.
I'm known for being a bit passionate, so I'm trying to bring that into the game, try and incorporate that within the players and get working as a unit. I think that's the best way we can push for the win and actually do really well.
Good afternoon and welcome to 15's 2023. I'm James Burridge and I'm joined initially by Dr. Romans, who's going to quickly explain the trophy that's on offer today for the older members of the viewing population. So Dr. Romans, you want to talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. It's an emotional day for me. My wife died in 2019 and the boys put themselves together across the 3 canvases and funded Pearl Pot in her memory. So on the front of it there's a peony, which was her favourite flower, and whilst we continue to play Winchester football in 15s, she's still with us, so it means a lot to me.
Thank you very much, Dr. Romans. I'm going to let Dr. Romans get on because he wants to go and talk to his team quickly before they march out, and you'll see him shortly coming out of Warcloister in about 10 minutes.
Okay, thanks James. See you later.
So, welcome everyone to a very calm day today on Meads. Not a lot of wind present today. And as you can see, OTH fans are all just arriving as we build up to the start of the match. Back returning to comms box, having been on the pitch last year, is OW Toyite Paddy Fisher. Welcome, Paddy.
Hello, Mr. Burridge. I'm very excited to be back. Although let's not talk about last year, please, on comms now. As you were saying, wind not very much today, so the toss looking like it will play less of an impact than it has done in previous years. We know that this year, Commoners look like they have a massive hot and should dominate in that area, but OTH, with some experienced kicks, probably looking like favourites.
I think certainly about half the OTH side returns from last year looking for revenge, I suggest. In addition to that, if you always look at where the Soccer 11 players are within the 2 teams, Houses dominate that in terms of the number of Soccer 11 players on either side. So Houses, roughly 9 or 10 boys, regulars on the Soccer 11 pitch, and just 1 for Commoners. Could be very telling during this game.
Some young blood for Commoners, though, with a 3rd-year back kick. So we're really looking forward to that, seeing Seb Morgan, already a feature in the Lords team this year and the last year. So used to the big occasion, but can he hack it on the biggest stage that Winchester has to offer is the real question.
Big pressure for the young man at back kick for Commoners. 2 other 3rd years joining him on the pitch today, Stephen Wu for Commoners from Kenny's and Anthony Cloak-Brown from Toys, features for Houses.
Cloak-Brown, if he follows on from his brother, we can expect a lot of aggression from him and chasing throughout the game. And then I'm not. Do we have much information on the other 2 3rd years?
From what I know, Stephen Wu is going to put himself around as much of the pitch as he possibly can and get as many plants as possible. And obviously, you know, Seb will do his utmost. I'm sure Seb will take on a lot of responsibility from the kickouts from behind as well.
interesting when we look at roll, the top 5 of commoners, not a single kick in there, whereas OTH, all 3 kicks in the top 5. Casper Hall, Freddie Van Every, who both featured very heavily last year, and Will Whitehead is the only new kick coming in for Ollie Graham, who played last year.
In contrast, commoners have an entirely new set of kicks, and it'd be interesting to see how they deal with the pressure today.
We're not quite sure. I think about 10 minutes till kick-off. Looking forward to seeing them coming out of the gate that you can see in the top right corner of your screen. Most of the fans have arrived now, although looking a bit sparse. I reckon maybe a couple of hundred more going to be coming in.
So one other change to look forward to today is in the hot, where commoners will look to try and dominate. We will see, perhaps for the first time ever, a feed into the hot. This is due to safety reasons, so both sides have been training to strike the ball with a heel, to get the ball out sooner rather than later. That's in line with RFU guidelines when scrummaging. Should really try and make this hot as safe as possible. In addition, Mr. Burley, the Director of Sport, will be refereeing the hots particularly, and then Mr. Mercer and Mr. Rogers will join him as the main referees in the rest of the game.
The hot, as we've already explained, it probably will be commoners' strongest area, but with a lack of wind, the efficacy of the hot goes down, because the way that the hot is usually played is when a team's against the wind, they'll use the hot when another team commits a foul, which happens all the time, to waste time when the other team has the wind. However, today, it's pretty flat. There really isn't much wind at all. So the toss, it sort of doesn't matter who wins. And also, because we've lost 2 weeks due to frost, there's grass on the pitch this year. It's not a complete mud bath, which means that there's a lot more room for the kicks to come into the game and less bobbles.
I think with the build-up to this game, it's probably sort of fair to look at the game in 2021, post-COVID, when both sides had about 2 weeks to prepare. End of March, pitch was in very good nick. On that occasion, we're looking at 50 plus each for either side. So there's a good chance today we should see lots of scoring again, Paddy.
I hope so, because if you've got to be looking at it, if Casper Hall and Freddie Van Every find their range, and I know I will sound a bit biased here, that they could score a lot of points today, and obviously the same with Seb Morgan, and that they've experienced the big occasion before and they know what's going on. And having watched them play 6s last year and 10s against College, they absolutely demolished them when they were on form. I mean, they didn't perform in 15s, but when they do turn up, they turn up.
I'm sure commoners will do their utmost today to get as many bodies in the way as possible. That's always one of the challenges in this game.
Well, as the Sir Alex Ferguson of Winkies said, Mr. McKinnon, every person on the pitch who isn't a kick is simply a target for the kick to hit and then kick it again. So if commoners can get their players in the way, then we'll certainly have a game on here.
So in a moment we should start hearing the college bells being rung. They'll signal to the players to begin their march out from War Cloister to the pitch, where Mr. Rogers and Mr. Mercer will meet them for the toss.
Another thing worth mentioning this year is that for the first time to my knowledge, commoners are being captained by sixth form entrant Will Matthews, who played last year. And which, I mean, it's unbelievably impressive to not play the first 3 years of Winchester football, come in and be first on roll. And if there's one thing that you can expect from Will Matthews, it is a lot of passion out there. He's an absolute passion merchant. That team will be so fired up when they go out there, having listened to a team talk from him. I played some sport with him last year, and genuinely, he lifts every team he's a part of. And I think that will be really key.
Yeah, one of the key roles for that captaincy position. So it'd be interesting to see how he's able to rally the troops during the course of today's game, especially his young and fairly inexperienced side on this stage from commoners.
If I were commoner captain, which I'm obviously not, the way I'd look at it is that they have nothing to lose here. Because yes, OTH are overconfident every year, but this year, even speaking to some people on the commoner side and some people who know far more than me, they're backing OTH, but commoners here, they've got a young side. People don't know much about lots of their players, and that means that they have the ability to pull off a shot, because if they start well here, since there's no wind either side, and they get a bit of a lead, OTH will know that they're not at any disadvantage and they're ahead, and it can get in their heads like it did last year. Because last year, OTH, there was a strong wind, a 15-ish point wind. OTH were 3 points down with 15 minutes to go with the wind, and they still lost because Commoners managed to get in their heads. And if they manage to do that again this year, then we'll be looking at the same result again.
Yeah, Commoners did a great job at the end of that game, stopping any sort of clean ball in those last few minutes, didn't they?
They really did. And to be fair, they had an absolute unbelievable performance from a Hall of Fame back kick, Freddie Von Fink. It's worth, if anyone watching, if you go back and watch last year's game, possibly the best fly I've ever seen is hitting about the 50th minute. And I remember standing on the pitch, watching it go over my head, thinking, this is definitely going to stop. And as it continued to sail about 8 posts over my head and over worms, yeah, I sort of knew it was over at that point. I sort of gave up.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of listeners at this point ready to give their own version of a similar moment in their 15s matches in their past.
Just looking now, still no sign from the gates. But, I mean, we've got all afternoon, so it doesn't really matter when they come through, although we should expect them in the next minute or so. Starting them young, very good.
Always another area of interest in this game is what goes on ropes, Paddy. Commoners probably have a bit more experience there, perhaps. I think their players in those key positions are probably returning from previous years. Callum Mackay will be crucial in there, possibly James Bate as well. What about for Houses? Who do you think will be key for them on there?
Dom Hall and Rufus Bowder, the toys pairing, I think will be really key for us. Dom Hall did it last year. I mean, obviously Harry Coombs was our main person on ropes, going both sides, and me and Dom subbed in at times. And Dom actually, even last year, he had it. And it's sort of an unquantifiable thing that you need to have on ropes, and some people have it and some people don't, but Dom Hall definitely has it. Now, he's not as big as Callum Mackay or James Bate, but ropes is also, it's a very mental game, which sounds a really stupid thing to say, but because it's so many little touches in close, like if someone gets a bit frustrated, they're going to foul, they're going to dribble, they're going to do something like that. Oh, here we go, out they come.
So you've got Dr. Romans leading with Mr. Cunningham, representing, or he's in charge of Houses. For those who don't know Mr. Cunningham, he is a former Beelowite, twice winner for Commoners, thrice winner for Commoners perhaps, and since then has started with a win in his Houses career. So yes, interesting occasion for him as ever.
Following him and Dr. Romans, we can see Casper and Will Matthews, and then the rest of Roll following on. Directly behind Casper and Will Matthews, you can see Callum Mackay and Freddie Van Every, followed by Fergus and Luca Ryan. And you've really got to be looking at probably those 6 players will decide the course of this game.
Yeah, Will Matthews captaining for Commoners, behind him Callum Mackay, and Luca Ryan returning from last year's victory for Commoners. Another key person this afternoon.
Eamon, I believe it is, at number 4, and I haven't seen much of him play, but in the few days preparing for this, I've had a chat to a few Commoners, and they think he's a star.
Yeah, there's 2 boys in that Commoners side who are particularly quick, and that's something they look to try and to use today. Eamon being one of them, Michael Nevin another. I assume, try and put as much pressure on those Houses kicks as they possibly can.
I actually remember playing against Eamon in first year on Palmer, which for those who don't know is the worst place to play Winkies. If it's not flooded, then the tractor's driven over it wrong or something. There's always something wrong with it. And no one could get clean ball playing against him. And we were in second year and he was in first year. You just couldn't get a ball away. So I hope that continues for Commoners' sake today.
I'm sure those conditions sound perfect for many of our older listeners, Paddy.
Yeah, well, today it's very different from that because of the frost. Looking at this pitch, there's grass on the pitch and it is dead flat. It looks like it's been rolled fairly recently. And yeah, there should be a lot of points scored today.
What sort of inspirational words were the captains have gone for there, Paddy, do you think, in those last moments before kickoff?
Well, it's very important to make sure that everyone's up for the game, but there's a big difference between up for the game and frantic, because I'd say we actually got, OTH got frantic last year in the final minutes, and it's like, Winkies is a lot about momentum. It's all about the consistent going forward, but you really don't want to rush it. You've got to keep the ball moving, but there's a very big difference between going, right, we're up for this, we're going to hit everything as hard as we can, but you've still got to play smart. Defensively, you can't be kicking the ball too hard. You've got to be able to get in front of it. And yeah, well, we'll see in this first scrum what's going to happen here. I think Commoners could absolutely steamroll our OTH here. Speaking to Will Matthews earlier in the week, he very proudly told me, when I asked him to tell me about the Commoner team, their average pack weight is 86 kilos. Well, we've watched that go down there for the first time, and I think there'll be a reset.
And a change of plan by the looks of it. So they've gone with the ball being static in the middle as usual. There's been a lot of discussion this week about which option to go for. So it seems like they've decided to go with that.
Interesting, there is still grass covering, but it did get chewed up quite a lot there. And we watched the props on the other side go down. Have another reset. We'll see how this one goes. Wow, and OTH have won that hot. I really did not predict that. And we go into ropes on the left-hand side and straight out, and I've caught the ball.
One of your better catches, Paddy.
Yeah, I did drop a lot last season. Right, and we'll have OTH kicked it out, so Commoners have the choice of a hot in the middle or a hot on ropes. They've gone for the hot on ropes, 2.5 posts out.
Straight away, Mackay versus Hall.
Big battle this. Right, Rufus, what have you got? No. Rufus has got away with that there. That ball. Right. Okay, so not to be super critical to start with, but that ball has just gone right down the middle to Commoners, and they really should have been looking for points there. That was quite poor play on both sides, and now we've ended up right on the other side of the pitch with OTH 2 posts out. Nicely done from Dom, getting out of ropes quickly. It's what you want when in attack, and that's gone backwards from Commoners. What?
Very panicky start from the Commoners so far.
Yeah. You've got to say, the most important bit in defence, which they are in this position, is getting back quickly so you can chase the ball, but all of Commoners were behind their side there, caught 2 posts out. Nicely done into ropes. Was that a plant there? Sorry, I couldn't quite see.
Yep, Morgan with the kick out and then the plant.
And Commoners have the opening points. Goal there, I'm not quite sure who scored that, but that was a very nicely converted from 3 posts. Hall will look to go reasonably quickly, straight back down the middle. In ropes, posting a bit out. Nicely done from Rufus Bowder. Oh. Would you have conceded a behind there, Mr. Burridge? Or look to take the aggressive option like they just did? That Luca Ryan who scored the first goal.
It was Luca Ryan with the first goal. If possible, I'd be looking to leave that crossworm to try and give myself 2 kicks. Possibly got lucky with where it went out, I think.
Yeah. Well, you'd think OTH will look for a heel here, or Commoners will just straight concede, giving OTH the behind. And if Commoners don't touch, OTH will get 2 kicks out from the behind. No, they're going to contest it. I like that. It's good. Last year, OTH went too passive in the first half and just let Commoners score point after point. So they were 16 points up after the break. But Commoners contesting, I mean, they concede the behind, but it's only 1. Up called there by Casper Hall. So we will go back again for a second behind.
So a reminder for some of the older listeners that the 3 kicks rule was eliminated a couple of years ago, just quickened the game up, going down to 2 kicks and the kick out from behind. Morgan doesn't find ropes, but Hall can only find the approaching Commoner pack.
Oh, very nicely done there by Casper. Just prodding it into ropes and letting it roll on for another behind, and that's 3-all instantly.
Calm follow-up from Hall.
And that's what I'm talking about, like being up for it, but not being frantic. He knew exactly, he didn't have to kick it too hard. He just placed it very nicely in a gap and knew what he was doing. Now, Seb, again, a lot of pressure on him in just the third year. I mean, we know he stands up at the big occasion, but it's gone down the middle again. I mean, that's shocking from Casper. Really should be looking to do better there, I think. Nicely done by Rufus, although a great return. Straight into Wilf's hand, he'll look to bust it straight back down the canvas. It has gone out, but there's a lot of territory gain there. Luca, if he's going to kick it in the air, probably got to commit a bit more than that. I mean, it was awkward for him. He got a decent piece of it, but straight into Wilf's hands. On ropes initially, looking pretty even, although OTH getting the better bit of it on a couple of occasions. Ball coming back to Wilf again, who goes cross-field. Aiming straight back down the middle. Someone's got to get a good piece of that. And Lucas Payne's kicked it out. I think we'll have a hot on ropes, about a post and a bit out.
Keeps Houses in a strong position again, looking to dominate the territory early on. And they seem to be having a nudge in the hots on ropes as well.
He's done well there, just about getting into ropes.
Bit of experience from Ryan again.
Yeah, nicely done heel. Although, is that an up?
Yeah, up given.
Yeah, up given. So Rufus healed that out of ropes, and he can do that, because it's coming in ropes, he can do that with 2 touches, which is a specific rule for it being in ropes. And then it was kicked, but it had to be a down, because it's obviously a touch, and if you kick it backwards, you can kick it again. Dom Hall definitely getting the better of commoners on that side, more even on the right-hand side, but on the left-hand side.
Seems a bit sharper on that front foot of his, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, I know James Bate can squat 200 kilos, apparently. That doesn't really help you if you're just tapping it lightly into the other person's foot. And Dom Hall, a Soccer 11 footballer this year, so that's why you can see this happening.
Yes, all 3 of Houses.
That's a great flyer from Van Every. He'll want that early in the game. 4 or 5 posts out, thank you very much. Didn't even swing through it, just timed it perfectly. And 3 more points to OTH, 6-3 now. And Morgan's take the bust off.
Freddie Van Every, captain of Soccer 11 this year.
That's a very good bust off. And not a bad return from Bowder. For someone who's playing in the front row, he's got a decent feet on him.
Yeah, all 3 of the Houses front row featured in Soccer 11 this year. That's possibly a first.
That must be a first. Ropes again. Nicely done from Dom. And planted out, so I believe it'll be where it goes out.
Yeah, Charles Harry getting into the game to start with.
That wasn't particularly bright from Rufus kicking it straight into Dom, but these things do happen. A bit of a rush of blood on ropes.
Dom got stuck, didn't he?
It does happen, though. You'll never see a game where the men on ropes go through it without committing a few fouls. It's just part of the game. And quite neatly done there, leaving it. Although that's a lovely flyer, which either went over the line or Hall's taken back over the line for a behind. Very nicely done there. I didn't quite catch who that was.
Harry again with the left foot, kick out of the rope, so should be 2 kicks unless Hall called it on the pitch.
Very impressive, and put into ropes, but it's bobbled out. Oh, this
Goal time.
Charlie Barklam, I believe, who's enjoying that one. Sticking his hands behind his ears to the commoner crowd.
More than Charles Harry, who seems to be blocked off by Mr. Rogers there.
Yeah. Duron there, reminiscent of Ollie Graham last year. And I hope he doesn't mind me saying that.
It's a great strike from Morgan, though, to get back up the other end.
I've got to say, I've been seriously impressed with Morgan already in these opening 8 minutes. Right, Rufus to go again on ropes on the left-hand side.
Aaron Hockey stepping in this time for Commoners.
Did that come from ropes? No, that's another goal. OTH not happy.
No, Mr. Rogers
is calling him back. That's an unbelievable bust which has just been missed there. It's a shame.
Shows the intent from Houses. They're going to take those bust offs very quickly, I think, today.
And we'll get
catching that one and taking it over.
another behind. Nicely done by Commoners there. I think that score that's displaying on the screen is wrong. I think maybe Commoners would have got to have those points, but we'll get it sorted out in a second. Nicely done by Casper, forcing Duron to be defensive there, and a big follow-up from Pat Ritchie and Salah Mogadan. Salah following in his brother's footsteps to try and be the most aggressive person on the pitch, and a great plant there. There's a Commoner got a decent piece of that, but someone's managed to get in the way and it'll be where it went out. That was it?
Calmly done by LaFontaine Jackson.
Very nicely done by Will. He's been there before, to be fair, Will. Played well last year in the loss. And a cool head under pressure, visible in Winkies and cricket.
Good footwork to elude the tackle and then calm head to stroke it over.
12-5 already in the first 10. With Commoners having, you've got to say, they've played reasonably well, but OTH just in the kill zone. Every chance they've got, they've taken it. And that's been the difference. Commoners, a couple of times, just where they are now, they haven't come away with a goal. They've come away with a behind or two, but they haven't converted any of their behinds yet. Very nicely done to get that out of there, but now Morgan will get a chance to answer it. Our depth perception from here isn't great, but that was a great strike. I'm not sure. I think that might be a behind. Yeah, behind two kicks.
Yeah, good strike.
That's
on the half
seriously
volley.
impressive from a third year.
Not a bad goalkeeper, Seb.
No. Two kicks to OTH. We can hear Mr. Mercer having a word, I think, about someone getting in the way of Casper Hall's run. They go to Duron again, who does not succeed. Planted. Willock has a big collision with Mackay, and then Dom Hall's put it straight into ropes on the right-hand side. On the right-hand side. That's not a great kick from Harry.
Commoners
and Van
have to
Every
find a
takes it.
tackle.
Yeah. Oh, very nicely done from Van Everett, although he is now getting smashed. That's a high tackle, come on.
I think there's two Commoner players then coming from behind on Van
Coming
Every.
from behind and high.
Should
So
see a free bust here.
Mr. Mercer will have a word, and there's a bit of handbags, but realistically, none of them want to have a fight. Happens every single year, and there's a tackle like that, and everyone gets a bit handsy, and then they all run away because they don't actually want to do anything serious. I think we'll be looking at a free bust here. I don't think it was deliberate. I think his arms just slid up and he's got him a bit high. But that was definitely, in my eyes, foul play and dangerous play.
I think the two boys who he eluded initially as well then came back and tackled him, which they're not allowed to do.
Okay, Matthews and Van Every hugging it out. Very nice to see. And having a little word with Harry here. Got a little bit Larry for Harry. But we move on. We do have a ref mic on, but I'm afraid we can't actually hear what's actually going on.
Would be the ideal time, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you can see from Mr. Rogers' face, he's not particularly impressed. I think he's giving them the message that, come on, let's get on with the game and let's not do anything stupid. It's a big spectacle. And no one wants to see any of this happening. Nicely done, and I think we'll have a free bust. Unsure. Here we go. Van Every to take the free bust.
I think that's the longest interval, mid-15s, I've ever seen for a non-injury.
Yeah, how many posts out are we? Just past halfway. And I think you'd back him to convert from here. All of Commoners who are out of sight will all be on their line looking to block this, but you think this should be a guaranteed 3. Which it isn't. Caught by Eamon on the line, who'll bust it back and straight out. Did so well in the first half. Shame about the second part. But nicely done there by Commoners. Not great from Van Every, but with only a week of proper training, you really can't expect everything.
Probably Eamon's best option there, I think, Paddy.
Yeah, I suppose. Oh, they concede the behind, I suppose, because it went out before 1. Slightly less stylish than just walking behind, but it does the same job. Mr. Rogers having another word. I think perhaps with Barnes getting in the way of the kicker.
Up given by Mr. Mercer.
That was only 1 kick. Yeah, a bit of confusion. So that was only 1 kick. And the 1 kick was a foul, which means it's a free bust from halfway. Mr. Mercer not particularly impressed with some verbals coming on from the crowd. He's just going to have a little word and make sure. Dr. Hepworth sweeping in, you know nothing's going to get past him. In a first-year chemistry set, and I can tell you that's the best behaved I've ever been. Nicely done by Hall, and that will be 3. Or 2. Correction, sorry, my year out is showing. It's a conversion, so it's 2 rather than 3.
I'll forgive you, Paddy, don't worry.
My apologies. Morgan to take the bust off again. Just going out there. Another hot on ropes on the left-hand side, just inside the OTH half. It's clear here you can see he's in the ascendancy because Rufus is very keen to get it out. That's a great plant from Bosco there. Really brave to get in the way of that. With OTH storming onto the ball, and it's gone out, and they'll have another hot on ropes, but a post gain for Commoners. But you can see OTH. Handiwork.
Yeah, it's one of those classic moments where everyone wants to be a kick.
Is that Willock? Nicely done by Commoners there. OTH taking a very aggressive route in their own half, trying to get the ball out of ropes.
Doran's first good strike as well. Perhaps that will give him a bit of confidence to build from.
Oh, hard luck Morgan there. Kicks it straight into the rope. Blake Brown returns, and we're right back in the Commoner half. A chance for the first point, but...
Again, Harry did well initially to drop into that defensive position, and then just needed to remain a little calmer when striking that ball.
Yeah, very impressive though to see Anthony Cloak Brown following in his older brother's footsteps there, absolutely herring after that ball and getting there and forcing the pressure. Morgan's dinked that into ropes very nicely actually. That's very tricky for. Nicely done by Morgan.
As well.
And that's under pressure. That's really nicely done by Lucas. So it's come off a commoner who shouldn't really have kicked the ball because they weren't in the position. Lucas headed it because it was an awkward height into ropes. That Matthews was telling me yesterday, the commoner captain, that he stands up when the big game, and you know, so many people in that position would try and catch the ball where it would come awkwardly off their shoulder or something, go out, but he's just very nicely dinked that into ropes. Well on him.
Or play it too hard and give it an easy fly to houses.
Yeah. Another, looks like another free bust here to OTH.
Every from this range?
Good, he's found it back now.
No mistake from 2 post placer.
Well, to be fair, last year in sixes we did see a free bust missed from 2 posts when it was fired straight into the back of Axel Blakey's head from a post and a half by Callum Mackay, which was my moment of the season last year. Morgan again, already quite a big lead. That's a brilliant bust. Down being called, as you can hear on the mic, by Fergus, although I think OTH will just concede. all coming there from an enormous bust from Ward. You got to say, even though Common is 11 points down now, he is standing up.
But as you say, Paddy, Houses keep scoring goals. Commoners are having to deal with behinds only at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's true. I think we saw a first goal from Commoners. They scored 3 points initially, and then we had 5 behind since then. It's unfortunate to see this at 15s, but you can see Casper, who is very clearly targeting Duran's right foot. And I think we might be seeing a change in formation. Matthews is having a word, perhaps switching it over fairly soon, because OTH just you can't keep on letting them get out of it with an easy way out. And now look, they've got a hot on ropes around the halfway. Salah being nice and aggressive in there against Bosco.
Done really well initially, and then Toe Pumpapong responding well.
A good battle out here, actually. Dom Hall back in there. He's taking charge, gaining yards nicely, although nicely done by Toe, straight through his legs. We'll go back up, and Duran will get a decent kick at it. Sat nicely in ropes. Casper's fallen straight over. And that is an unbelievable connection by Matthews, I believe, to slot that. And that's what his team needs. They need someone like that, so passionate. And then when your captain's doing things like that, everyone believes on their team, because they're still 8 points down.
Swapping from Commoners. Again, Houses again go for a very quick bust off. Commoners aren't really set.
No, they're still celebrating. And all those 3 points they've worked so hard to get, they're straight back at 11 points down. They need to be more switched on.
I think that was Morgan on that occasion who probably didn't need to play that one.
No.
But responds with a great bust off.
Yeah, Morgan concede a behind. Morgan again, with it being so still, you quite often see in 15s that one side's bust off will be much larger than the others due to the wind, but here it's very even. An exhibition on both sides. Poole sent that straight down the middle.
Change formation, as you said, suggested, Paddy.
Change formation, they kicked the ball straight at us. They changed formation, but they still went for Duran, which, yeah, shows what they think about it. That is a great connection for Matthews watching that back. Go again in ropes on the right-hand side.
Bit of handiwork. Can catch it after it comes off the ropes or canvas, but must put it down.
It's gone out there. Lucas Payne looking for the plant, but he hasn't quite managed to get in.
Getting Harry in the right position, just not quite getting the connection he wants for the goal.
No, he's looking quite similar to Hall and Van Every last year. The talent is so clearly visible, but it's just taking a little bit of time to get into the game. Duran comes onto it, and that's... You know what? He's finding his range. He is really finding his range. He's coming into this game now, 22 minutes in. It's a much better connection there. It's gone out.
But the first time he's called for it, I think.
Yeah. And you need that. You need to be confident when you're running onto a ball as a kick, because if you're doubting yourself, you haven't got a chance. Nicely worked by Bowder, but he can't get the plant.
Duran steps in again as well.
See there, a heel from Commoners, and it's sat up for Duran. OTH coming through. A great kick by Casper Hall. And Morgan has to go defensively into ropes, although I think he's just about got it into ropes. A heel from Barnes.
But a second touch from Morgan.
Second touch from Morgan, so we'll go to a behind. Not the worst result for Commoners there, because with that heel from Barnes, that's dangerous, with as many OTH boys running onto it. You can see there, in attack, OTH looks so aggressive, and Commoners have almost been just sitting back a tiny bit, and if they start attacking that ball, this game's going to get really close very quickly. Straight down the middle from Morgan. I mean, it stayed on the pitch there from Hall. He's miles behind his side. So Casper there has sent an enormous flyer straight into the tree. It's come off the tree and back onto the pitch. But then Lucas Payne, he was at 2 posts, didn't retreat back to Casper's position, and that's why he was behind his side. Now it's rolling to Hall again, who goes cross-field brilliantly into ropes. And Duran aims for the cameraman. So it'll be 2 posts out, OTH ball again. That kick, Mr. Cunningham and Mr. McKinnon before him talk a lot about the cross-field kick, make it come off ropes. Because obviously if a ball's coming straight down the canvas, even if it's in ropes, it's much easier to hit because it's coming straight at you.
Up kick from Commoners, lots of touches on the way through. There'll be a hop where it was.
Yeah, Rufus and Dom on ropes again against Mackay and Bosco. And it's sat nicely. And that's another 3 for Will Whitehead, I believe. Perhaps Dom Hall, my mistake. No, that is Whitehead there. Nicely done from Whitehead. What Mr. Gould, another OTH coach, would call a sand wedge. Not kicking the ball too hard, just making sure you get the right elevation in close range and you're guaranteed to convert. Because far too often, everyone wants to see the ball sail miles over worms, but all you need is for it to dribble over. It's the first bust off Morgan's really got wrong today. We have a hot on ropes inside the commoner half.
With about 5 minutes to go here, Paddy. Commoners, best outlook going into the time to change?
Well, for Commoners to win from here, with it being as still as it is today, you're really looking at, it's actually, I think, Morgan at back kicks played exceptionally well, and but on ropes and in open play when it's quite congested, they just need to be a bit more aggressive, which is rare for a Commoner side for me to be saying that, because usually, having played against them, you constantly feel threatened because they're so aggressive. They're running into everything, but they're almost being a bit passive today.
Well, you can start to hear Matthews having an influence already.
Yeah.
I think he's feeling the same thing as you there.
Nicely done by Payne, but planted by Mungo. He kicks it again, which he's allowed to do if he plants it. Wolf goes straight into some traffic there, and Salamogadan sends it straight down the middle to Morgan. Oh, not great.
Nasty bobble right in front of him.
Not quite sure what was wrong with that. Oh, he may have been touching ropes when he caught it.
Must have been.
But apart from that, very nicely done by Barklam, who I've been very impressed by today. Not on canvas last year, but the Furleyites I've spoken to, played house Winkies with him, said he was one to watch. Nicely done by Duran again, really coming into this game now, and it sits to Van Every, who goes crossfield kick brilliantly and nestles nicely under a post. But Bosco comes flying onto that. For a man in the front row, that's an unbelievable connection. Ball goes straight back down the pitch, and it just lands out. Although it may have actually been out for quite a long time there.
That was a great strike from Bosco, and a good return from Captain Hall as well.
I don't think I've ever seen a commoner prop hit a ball like that. I'm very impressed. Back in ropes again. I think that's dribble by Rufus Bowder there. Yeah, he had the last touch and he's gone for it again.
I think he checked, but didn't wait for the answer.
A classic, to be fair. Straight out of ropes again. That'll be a goal for Commoners. Yeah. If OTH are going to take that aggressive route by getting the ball out of ropes in their own half, Mr. B, they've got to be a bit quicker.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pounced upon, I think, by McNeil for Commoners.
Very nicely done by him. Dom Hall again. Just ground consistently being made by Dom Hall. He's had a great game today. Ropes meant not necessarily the people you notice. Everyone looks at the kicks. I felt that a lot throughout my career at Winchester. Feeling like I was doing all the hard work, and then you watch Casper Hall smack it over from 6 posts and he gets all the credit. But Dom Hall is playing exceptionally well. And that'll be another goal for OTH. I think Whitehead in the pocket again.
Or Hall once more.
Or Hall again. No, sorry.
I'm sure he'll message you about that later.
Probably should have worn my glasses today.
Yeah, calm work from Dom Hall.
Yeah, most definitely Dom Hall. Great bust off by Seb. I think Mr. Mercer there having a word, because off a bust off, the OTH kicks here can catch the ball. Everyone else from OTH can get some piece on the ball, and commoners are allowed to get a plant once they've touched it, but they're not allowed to touch them or directly get in the way. So a free bust to OTH for them getting in the way. Van Every goes into
Bit of
ropes.
obstruction, I think.
Yeah, and then straight back out. You can see there again that when the ball coming across the commoners, and OTH exactly the same, it's so much harder to hit. That bust off landing just in the corner of ropes and spitting out. Interesting, Rufus sitting much deeper on ropes than he was in the first 5. And Whitehead there, bit of a slice, out it goes.
A bit more pressure for commoners that time.
No, their aggression is coming back now, although they've got a second till half time. I think we'll probably be last play here, although we did have a decent stoppage.
Brilliant work from Mackay on ropes.
Exceptional. Dom Hall comes in again. Nicely done by Dom, although he's put it straight in. I think Duron could have kicked that from his hands there.
Possibly wrong call.
That's come from rope, so it'll be a behind 2 kicks. But Dom Hall bossing it. Morgan to take again. Probably looking at maybe a minute more because of the stoppage. Whitehead goes into ropes and we'll have another behind there.
First time Whitehead's been able to get across to one of Morgan's kickouts.
Quite like the formation OTH have adopted with 2 kicks very close. So there's no option of Morgan going short, and then Casper a long way back, right in the middle. So if it goes down to him, you're just backing him because he is the best kicker of a football in the school. Although nicely done by Morgan coming off the post.
That's the one you're looking for, isn't it?
That is the perfect behind, and there we'll have half time. Good first half from OTH with very little wind. Perhaps a little bit of inexperience showing in the commoner side.
So with a 15-point deficit, I think we need to see commoners scoring very quickly here. They need to start turning some of those behinds into goals. Looking to start moving that scoreboard in their favour early in the second half.
Yeah, need to start well. I'd also, in open play, I'd try and get Morgan into the game more. He's been the standout for commoners for me. And I'd maybe be looking to try and push him up the pitch, perhaps move someone else back. And yeah, get him going. Because that man has the potential to win you a game. And you just want him running onto as many balls as possible. I'd also, if I was Matthews in that team talk, I've really just said, boys, you've got half an hour. It's the biggest game they're going to play. If you're a top year especially, this is your last time to play this. So just give everything for the next half an hour and see what you can do. Go for another hot here.
Let's see if this one stays up.
It's quite interesting actually, because commoners have a massive weight advantage in the hot. But the first hot OTH won, and with there being a lack of wind, as we mentioned before, meaning that you're less likely to call a hot unless you're actually just dominating it. It's a bit uneasy, and Mr. Burley's going to call them up there.
Early engagement from commoners, I think.
Right. They go again. OTH steamrolling them. I thought it'd be exactly the other way around. Salam Moghaddam gets a lovely plant in there, rolls back into the OTH side. Charlie Barkham's going to run onto that, who goes out at about halfway. But you can see There's some intensity back from Commoners. See Matthew shouting, marshalling his troops here.
That was a big hot win from Houses. Suggests there might be something else going on in there, I think, Paddy.
Fortunately, Bosco falling foul of the rules there, using the wrong foot to heel it out of ropes and only using one touch. I like the idea, though. You're behind in the game, you've got to get it moving quickly, but Dom Hall, masterclass so far. Him and Rufus really controlling this in the hot. Wilf running on, goes into ropes, though Mackay gets the planted and then falls over. Rufus, great connection, although straight into the hands of Morgan, who puts it down because it's come from ropes and will go into ropes on the other side. Nicely done by Morgan. And Lucas Payne will get it behind there. On dress last year, number 20 in third year, very impressive, and this year he makes it onto the pitch.
I should apologise at this point for naming the wrong Wu on the commoner side. It's actually Shiloh Wu rather than Stephen Wu.
Nicely done by Whitehead. Very cool card. He likes a celebration though. Embarrassing.
Often spotted doing something similar when Soccer 11 are scoring, whilst he stood at the other end of the pitch.
And if you follow him on Instagram, you'll know that because you see it every 4 days.
Goal from Nevin.
Yeah. That's all they need to do though from that range, just pick the gaps.
And Casper Hall
will
goes
just go straight away. Morgan back, nicely taken, and he'll go into ropes. Fergus puts in a big challenge. And I think that's...
It's great pressure from Brandt initially.
Brandt and Mogadan.
I think it's then gone forwards off Brandt though.
Yeah, so T-post back for them. But still, just that pressure that OTH are putting on, doesn't matter if you do that occasionally, it's impressive. That looked like a pretty blatant dribble to me, but
Cabbage, I think.
Cabbage, a great example of a niche rule in Winchester football. Mr. B, would you like to explain?
So, the reason that might not have been dribble was the Houses player shaped to go and kick the ball, pulled his leg back, and then decided not to at the last moment in order to encourage Commoners to strike the ball again. If that happens, then you ignore the fact that Commoners have struck it again.
Often called in lower standard Winchester football matches with absolutely no idea what's going on. Nicely done on ropes here. There's Shiloh getting a decent piece of it.
Yeah, good work from Shiloh Wu.
Got to say, Bate now coming into the game a lot more with Mackay on ropes, putting some pressure on.
I think we're yet to see a conversion though today from Commoners.
And we are still yet to see a conversion from Commoners.
Casper Hall's kickouts from behind proving difficult to return from them.
Beefers again. OTH should look to... I think there was a bit of confusion there. Everyone thought that Anthony Clegg-Brown was over the line, and then by that point, Mr. Pungapong had ran right up on him. But there he is again, nicely done by Clegg-Brown. He punted it a decent distance.
Strong strike from James Bate for Commoners.
But straight into Willock. That's a great catch by Clay, who you haven't seen much of so far. The highest fourth year on roll, so potentially looking at a senior position next year. Haven't seen much of him this game, but his first chance to do something, he's executed that very nicely.
There's that diagonal crossfield kick again, Paddy.
Yeah, Rufus Bowders from there. I actually think he was aiming for ropes. He'll claim that was completely deliberate after the game, but he's kicked it straight into Mungo's path and it's gone out, and here he is again on the other side. Messy, but gone straight into ropes, and Mr. Mercer's blown up before something nasty happens there. It's awkward around that area.
Commoners just about getting enough pressure on to make that flyer difficult.
So a lot more even in the second half. But still, Commoners do need to get out of their own half more, and when they do, get more points. Ball goes crossfield brilliantly, and that'll be another behind. And when you're up at this stage of the game, all you need to do is just make sure they're not spending consistent time in your half.
That's the classic return from Hall as well, isn't it, into that corner?
Learned his lesson from last year, and the experience is now showing. Morgan will go again now here. Yeah, that was up.
Second kick to come.
And interesting, even though OTH up, Van Every very keen to get on with the game, passing the ball back here. In previous years, if there's a bit of wind going around, you probably see that ball ending up nearly over Meads wall, or definitely in the crowd. Morgan tries to go short. Do you know what? That's very nicely done there, just to get it to roll. Shows the quality of the pitch, though, this year, how flat it is, that it will just keep on rolling. Goes straight back and straight out. I believe that was toe there. OTH keen to get on with it here. Oh, straight into Mackay's face there. Painful.
Bowder and Hall working hard again.
Interesting, in previous years, you'll be looking at two different sets of ropesmen, depending on what foot dominant they are. But OTH here deciding that the best two are the best two, regardless of which side they are. And I'd say that decision has definitely paid off. Payne now subbing in on that side for Rufus, and Dom Hall goes nicely down the line. Harry slips over trying to kick, but then Payne goes straight out.
Don't think Houses will be too concerned about that, with that 14-point lead, 16-point lead at the moment, and the territory still in the Commoners' half.
Hockey's gone early there, and we'll have a little reset. Back to Hall, who goes down the line again. That's gone backwards from Harry, so someone else from Commoners can kick it. Dom Hall goes straight into him, so it can lead on for a flyer.
Double
Wilf
plant
coming
from
onto
Harry.
it. Oh, great catch. Oh, no, it's...
Mackay's made up for that sixes bust you talked about, Paddy.
And very nicely returned. I've got to say, I think that was the best patch of play we've had today. And Morgan will go straight back and out, unfortunately. Some high-quality Winchester football going on there.
Again, not bad for Commoners. That kick goes out. Houses with lots of players back covering the kick. Don't really want to give them a free bust.
I think Commoners have picked probably the 8 strongest people in Commoners this year to play in their team. But OTH have picked footballers who are used to moving a lot more, and they're getting back quicker than Commoners. I mean, look at that from Pat Ritchie chasing that ball down, and then Payne straight in behind him.
Yeah, really well set up from Ritchie. Great support from Payne to be in the right place.
And if you're going to pick a pack that big, you have to cool the hot a lot more, and you have to win the hot, and they haven't been. Great bust off by Morgan. Nicely turned by Van Every, but he's gone too hard, I think, although it's rolled nicely in ropes. Harry returns with left foot and planted out off Mungo Kerwin.
Yeah, great work from Mungo.
That's what Commoners need. They need someone like that properly charging in.
Looks like there's a possibility he's planted that with his head, though. So a quick check from the referees.
Have a little hold up here. Shows commitment to the cause, though. Commoners coming in for a team talk here. 20 minutes to go, 19 points down. They're going to need something pretty special from here. Although if there's a man who I wanted to inspire my revolution or my Norman conquest, it would be Will Matthews.
Let's see if his teammates respond. I think they're going to need a big 10 minutes here to try and put some pressure on Houses towards the end of the game.
Ooh, that's not great from Mungo. I mean, it's a great first punt. But if you're going to kick the ball when it's coming onto you, you've either got to decide that it's better for the kicks to take it, because your kicks are going to be the people who are going to get the best connection consistently on the ball. So if you're going to take it, you have to make sure you're either getting distance or you're getting into ropes. But he stuck it short straight down the middle.
At the very least, he did well to try and put a bit of pressure on the Houses kick.
That's a shame from Morgan there. So He's collected the ball with his hands because he's a kicker and he's allowed to do that. He's put the ball down, but he then has to kick it down. Gone up in the air. And then up, there is no penalty in terms of post, just a hot on rope, so it'll be where it is. Half post out.
It's a good strike from Doran, but really good plant from Don Hall.
Yet again.
Been clinical down that left-hand rope today.
Up again. Just feel like it's fading a bit here from Commoners. And this, at the moment, is the most one-sided 15s I've ever seen. The last 2 years it's been streamed, it's been within 3 or 4 points. But this year, looks like OTH have learned from last year. And also, to be fair to Commoners, a massive chunk of their team has left. 8 or 9 players who were on roll last year have gone. And now they're doing this with quite, like, Mackay, Ryan. That's enormous from Casper, but I think it's gone out.
Yeah, just going out in the corner there.
Although you look at pitch side here, we're looking at Hall and Van Every, and they just look so calm. Whereas everyone from Commoners is fretting. They're 20 points up. There's 18 and a bit minutes to go. There we go, another foul. Another behind. Don Hall very kindly giving it to Seb Morgan there. Teammates in Lords, but not today. Brilliantly done by Whitehead, yeah.
Well played, yeah. Just found a little gap.
Just composure.
Yeah, cleverly done. I think Commoners need one of those big 3 players to step up with a little flurry of points in a minute, Paddy. Change up from Commoners.
Bit of confusion here about the rules, so...
Mr. Mercer holding his hand up for that one.
Yeah.
As the coach for college, he's obviously used to refereeing 10s matches more often than 15s. And in 10s you have to be 2 posts away as a kick, whereas in 15s you can be closer.
Thought about that one again, Van Every, but he'll let it sit back to Hall, who kicks it straight out and into the tree. And we'll go again.
Bit of territory finally for Commoners. They need to make something of this now.
Here we go, and Rufus has started wasting time now. Can't do that too, obviously, in front of Mr. Rogers. Nicely done by Bate there up ropes. We go straight back down, back to Morgan.
Good strike from Whitehead out of ropes.
Oh, unlucky there from Morgan. Rufus off the outside of his right boot has converted from 5 posts.
He had no other option there, Paddy. I heard at least 3 kick calls from Casper Hall, the captain. If Bowder had missed that one, I think he would have been hearing about it afterwards.
Or just sent straight off the pitch by Casper. Nicely done, great return by Van Every. Straight back to Morgan, who'll look to go.
Van Every with 2 great bits of technique. First with the volley off his right foot, follows it up with a sweet connection with his left.
That's an exhibition stuff from Van Every. It's 26 points difference with 17 minutes to go. This could get messy.
Great strike from Morgan. House is just happy to concede the behind.
They don't need it at this point. This is all about margin now. Oh, off the post. Is it going to roll 2? Or if it's come off the post, it already has gone 2. Nicely done by Commoners. A nice little heel in there to gain a post. Wilf will try and keep it in ropes, and Mackay will get them a behind. Nicely done by Commoners, but perhaps too little, too late. Taken by Van Every, straight back on his own worms, and straight back. Oh.
Again, Commoners fairly slow to get back there.
Was there? There was a touch on that, so only a behind. But really, someone not only should be catching that ball, should be running onto that ball. So they've got momentum going forward, because the rules are a running cat. So in football, when you catch the ball, you are allowed to take 3 steps and then kick the ball from your catching of the ball. On the other hand, if you catch it while you're running, you're allowed to steady yourself as you slow down and then allow your 3 steps. Mr. McKinnon, ex-OTH coach, used to talk about it a lot. It's Casper Hall, use his hands, and the left-hand side, nicely done by Mungo in ropes, and Casper will go again to Deron, who have to put it down and go into ropes again, but nice possession for OTH. Hugo Barnes coming into the game. It's not great from Bate there, kicking it straight down the middle. He's been very good on ropes in the second half, but got to be looking to keep it in there or to find them. Dom and Rufus again. Pops out to Ferg. Deron goes backwards. Nicely done by Bate there. Very nicely done. Sit to Rufus again.
Once more, a step to right in front of the kick.
Oh, it's coming at us again. And another big boot from Bosco.
Whitehead just reminding Bowder what to do when he hears kick.
Tendency when teams go up that people get a little bit selfish. Bowder here again at the front of the action. He's done well there.
He has. That's well planted though by Toe.
Oh, brilliantly taken by LaFontaine Jackson. So he's kicked it straight into him, ran backwards and then taken it. That's really nicely done. Didn't get a chance to get the plant away. Now it's rolled backwards, but Van Every's back there for OTH. But very
good pressure.
That's really good chasing from Common. It's exceptional from them.
Eamon and Michael Nevin then putting on the pressure.
Very nicely done by Matthews there to get it along that line. Poole to take in his options. He's gone straight off Shiloh and he'll go again. Very nicely planted, although he's taken it. But
Luca Ryan does so well with the plant, but then Eamon, who is behind his side, tries to tackle Hall. That would be a free bust.
it's all the pieces are there for Commoners is the sad thing today. Like the gap at 27 points, they don't really have a chance, but you can see it there. Like with all of that chasing and those brilliant plants, it looks just like the Commoner team that won last year, but it's just not consistent enough.
Mr. Mercer taking exception to Clace's actions there.
I hate to say I'm not surprised. Just having a little chat, but Alex will be fine.
Looks like Mr. Mercer chosen to exclude him from the game for the time being.
Suspect we'll see him again later. Not quite sure what he did. I don't think we do want to know. Having captained him in a cricket team last year, certain times with Alex where you just leave him be. Ropes again on the right-hand side. Rufus up front, and Dom Hall sitting a bit deeper. Nicely done by Matthews into ropes, and Van Every and Matthews will contest, and then Dom will come in. Nicely done by Dom to get past him. Off Mackay, nicely planted. Rufus. Very nicely done by Rufus.
It's another good strike from him, to be fair.
Him and Dom just go together so well, like mac and cheese.
Whitehead adding to his tally. Not sure we've ever seen a front row for Houses ever score this many points.
Certainly not when I've been here. Seb just losing his range now. It's gone out again. And really what Commoners need here is a massive bust off and then just a lot of time spent in OTH's half, but don't see that happening. The gap's 30 points now. Straight out by Whitehead. Rufus still very keen to get that ball out of ropes. Very nicely done by Salah there, and Seb's got to retreat again. Nicely done by Seb, although Casper's going to come onto that.
It's a good strike.
It's a a great strike. Nicely done by Duran just to make it the behind there rather than the goal, because when that was in the air, I thought that was a certain goal.
Harry slips with that kick out.
Though no one, nicely done by OTH, no one calls up. So,
But I think Hall's just missed it, yeah.
yeah. But so, up is only a foul when it's called by the opposition team. And it's quite important in behinds that the kicks are the only people who call up, because they might want to go at the ball. The Fontaine Jackson on the bust again. Smoothly done, 3 more points, thank you very much. And there, OTH, no one called it, and they just let it go straight into his hands. 57-22. Great bust off and great return by Barklam. Really nicely done from him. Little heel from Commoners worked quite well into Ryan. Whitehead will go into ropes, though he's had his legs cut away from him there. Ooh. I don't think that was deliberate.
As you say, Paddy, I think you can see plenty of good bits from Commoners. It's just not quite gelling together, whereas that more experienced Houses side, despite less practice, has been able to step up on the occasion, haven't they?
Yeah, no, it's true. And big cheer as Alex Clace returns to the pitch. He loves it. But yeah, OTH here. There's 8 minutes to go. They don't need it. They can just leave it and let it roll on to behind. Commoners here adopting a new formation from the behind, just 3 of them flat.
Paul happy to take the territory.
Oh, it's poor from Duran, and then Morgan's just had to tap it, and it's actually come off both of his feet, which is really unlucky, so it's dribble. It was not very good play from them. I think difference in quality of kicks. The people who've done it before. And it's not really a fair comparison, because 2 of the kicks have done it before, I believe in 15s. I believe Whitehead played in 10s and played in the best, like in a very good Furley 6 as well. Against like relative inexperience. None of them played last year. Seb was only a second year.
Van Every and Hall kicked for 6s last year as well.
Yeah. And
Morgan goes back to his original tactic from the kick out.
very nicely done. Hall and Van Every have threatened to do that. They'll be the first to say they didn't have their greatest performance in 15s last year, but I believe it was against College in 10s. They were so frustrated by what had happened in 15s. They won 50-23, but no one knew whether they could actually do it in the big game, and here they're really showing that they can.
Bates stepped onto that really well and clean strike. Luca Ryan slightly wrong-footed, but still manages to get it fairly well.
Ball to take. Up cooled there. Harry doesn't look particularly impressed. I think he quite fancied running onto that. Although, oh no, my mistake, sorry. Only 1 kick there, so they'll get the free bast. Because OTH committed handiwork, which is why the behind is given. And Morgan will go, although he's got an extra post if he wants it. Oh yeah, there we are. Off he goes. And that will be a behind. Van Every getting a hand on that. This is exactly what they needed earlier. It's a shame to say, but this last 5 minutes, Commoners have been really good. Keeping OTH down there. Nicely done behind by Casper.
That's the obvious tactic, I think, with that setup from Commoners. All 3 kicks, at least 5 posts away.
So Rufus there stepping over the ball and then trying to dummy out the Commoner player. But it's stepping in front of the ball, so he's behind his side when it's kicked into him. Great aggression from Mackay. Really good there. Look at this. It's sort of sad in a way, actually, because they're playing so nicely now and it's all sort of gelling. But that's the problem with not being able to practice because of all the frost.
Up given by Mr. Mercer.
And that'll be... It's another free bust, yeah. A bit confused as to why Commoners all standing down there. Because Van Every got a hand on it when it went over, so only one kick. And Morgan gets another go.
I mean, even just converting half of their behinds, I think today, Commoners would have made a big difference to that score.
Very nicely done by Morgan.
Wouldn't it? You think still no converted behind?
No. And again, OTH going quickly. Harry can't take it cleanly. Goes
Brandt gets
into
the
ropes.
plant.
Oh, Clace goes straight. Oh, and that's coming off again. Straight into the old boy section. You look at it there, I mean, Lacey didn't quite get the connection you want, but all of the OTH hot watchers and hot men have just done their job quite quietly, but well. They don't need to be the people hitting the 7-post flyers. Salah will tackle that. Mr. Mercenary gets his head taken off. Wilf going cross-field. Done by Nevin. Oh,
It's great footwork by Wilf.
really nicely done. It's just that, like, it's clinical. And there's a composure in the scoring areas, whereas Commoners, OTH always getting a body in the way. That's hanging.
Good kick out from Morgan.
Very good kick out from Morgan. Not that there is, Mr. Burridge, but in our minds, if there was a man of the match, who would you be giving it to today?
I think all three of the Houses kicks have played very well. They've scored well. I think Wilf scored probably 3 goals as well. I think Rufus Bowder could be a contender. He's added points to his good ropes play. Dom Hall would be another one, I think, as well. You know, some really strong ropes play when the game was really close. Plus a couple of clinical scores in the first half that helped Houses get that early lead.
Mungo Cohen there being very aggressive and doing well. Ropes and Matthews converts.
That's to his own points tally. Well done from the skipper.
He's had a good game. Matthews and Mackay, I think, in my eyes, they've stood up, but unfortunately they just haven't been followed. Morgan's had a good game in his first game in 15s, and he's got 2 more to come. And you'd think he'll be back next year for revenge. Bates' second half has been much better on ropes. He's been quite good. And Ryan as well. But
might see the tables turn next year, won't we, Paddy? I think that's 11 of Houses' 15 this year will leave. So perhaps a bit more experience for Commoners, match experience anyway.
No, that's true. That is true. Although I won't be here, so I won't have to see us lose. Great bust off again by Casper. Payne in the mix now. And Commoners commit another foul and we'll have another behind. Can OTH get a 30-point margin? I've never seen a 15s this one-sided. Mr. B, you've got far more experience than me. Any history in being like this?
A couple. Perhaps not quite with this difference in the score, but yeah, there's been a few fairly convincing wins for Houses over the last decade or so.
You know, obviously Commoners will be disheartened after losing this, but what they do have to look at is there's a bright future. There's people coming through. OTH, some young talent as well. Anthony Cloak-Brown hasn't done much this game, but what he's done has been good. And that's sort of all you need in 15s. With that many people on the pitch, you don't want everyone trying to touch the ball all the time. Nicely done again by Rufus, but he's gone a bit far. Sits to Van Every, who slices it. Oh, great catch by Nevin. Unfortunately, he gets a bit tangled in the rope. And then
Lucas Payne.
Salah does nicely and just gets in front of the ball. Come off the post. Fergus racing up. And that kind of shows the difference there between the two sides. That's a goal, and realistically, there should have been 3 people from Commoners in front of that chasing it. I know it's the last minute of the game, but there really has to be someone there.
They've been on the front foot, haven't they, Houses, today?
Yeah. Again, a very nice bust off, but well handled by Will Whitehead.
Follows up with 2 plants as well. That's great work.
Rufus Bowder again kicking it. Poor old Mungo's just got hit in the head again. Believe behind your side? Not quite sure. Anyway, the dying minutes here. And OTH will regain Pearl Pot. Done by Payne.
Great strike from Ryan.
Yeah, really nicely done. Payne probably taking over Rufus's job. And there we are. That's game over. OTH have won 65-37. One of the most dominant the most dominant performance I've ever seen in 15s. Man on man, I think they've beaten them every single one.
Yeah, thoroughly well deserved, I think, today.
You can see the Commoners supporters of some of them making way already. All shaking hands, nicely done, and we'll have the presentation coming up in about 5 minutes. All just shaking the referee's hand here. Exceptionally done. The OTH boys who were on last year, they got their revenge. A 1-point loss last year, and then winning by 28 today.
Yeah, really well done by them. When it was required, their big players stepped up today, Paddy, didn't they?
They really did. You can see Commoners here just coming in, and as I was talking to Dr. Raymond earlier, and he said it is always awful seeing the team who's lost, and I've been there. I've only played in 15s once and I lost, and I've got to say it was gutting. I was miserable for days, and I know how Commoners will feel now, and it's really not a brilliant feeling. But you know what? They've put on a great spectacle for everyone, and that's mostly what it's about. Dr. Thomas just making sure things don't get too out of control. OTH now retreating. And off everyone goes. Wait here for the presentation to come out. OTH will walk through the tunnel Commoners have created, and then OTH will go and create another. Hey! Or the other way around, actually. There you go. Nice gesture. Men on dress seem to be going through the tunnel first, but...
Reverse order, perhaps.
Oh yeah, here we are. Paul going through last.
Who will receive Pearl Pot?
OTH just looked calm and collected today. It looked like Hall, I think all their talking was done beforehand. They knew what they came out here, they knew what they needed to do. Get the kicks, the ball. Here we go. Celebrating to all of OTH who are just out of shot at the top. There they are.
That gives the Houses the nudge in terms of Pearl Pot. That's 3-2 in favour of Houses.
And off they go. You see Mr. Cunningham and Dr. Raymond shaking hands. Mr. Cunningham, I believe, was in Dr. Romans' house as a commoner boy and then has come back when Dr. Romans was coach of commoners and then has come back and coached OTH to beat Dr. Romans.
Obviously taught him well.
He really did. Thank you very much for joining us on this year's live stream of 15s. OTH with a very comprehensive victory. Thank you very much, Mr. Burridge.
Thank you very much, Paddy. Thank you for coming back and joining us here once more.
And Mr. Burridge, may join you next year. Thank you very much for watching.
Ever since I got here, I've loved playing the game. I think it's a really great game because it has everyone involved. Anyone of any ability, any size can have a really important role. I've also really wanted to play the game because I've heard a lot from it from my dad. It's an honour to be captain because my dad was captain when he was here, so it's been really nice to follow in his footsteps.
I'm pretty confident. I mean, we've got a lot of team camaraderie, working hard. Some big boys in the hot, so we've got a powerful unit there. On ropes as well, some very confident players. I think we've got a bit in the heart, a bit of passion, a bit about us. Yeah, and we can really go for it.
We haven't had that much time to train, time to prepare. We've sort of been thrown in the deep end. So we've done a bit of fitness, we've done a lot of hot training, which we need as we are normally the weak side in that area.
Yeah, we've struggled this year with the weather. You've seen the pitches, they've been frosted over. That's been a big challenge. We've still been able to do some sort of work and really get on with it.
All I'm going to say is I feel like we've got a lot of talented players, a lot of experience in our team. We'll give it our best.
I'm known for being a bit passionate, so I'm trying to bring that into the game, try and incorporate that within the players and get working as a unit. I think that's the best way we can push for the win and actually do really well.